What's going on, YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome to another big video. Godzilla vs. Kong, got a big update on it. I'm a few days late on reporting this because I want to have some time to settle and really think this over, like this new strategy. But the movie's been delayed. So the movie's initially supposed to come out in May of next year. Then it got bumped up to March, which I was kind of surprised. I'm like, oh, they're releasing it a little bit earlier. Then they got super overcrowded with movies like Quiet Place 2, Mulan, Disney's Onward. It's tough to release things nowadays for like big movies like this because there's so many like release date. Like the release windows have gotten so much smaller for movies because people are just releasing big movies here like all times a year. It used to just be the summer, but more people started taking a hold of, you know, the winter and the fall and early parts of the year. So pretty much any release date a movie can do well at any time. So I mean, nobody's really releasing the big mega blockbusters in January, but that's going to change eventually. I mean, it's mostly the December holdovers, but you get the point. But Godzilla vs. Kong, it got delayed. So it was initially March 13th. Now it's November 20th, 2020, which is just in time for Thanksgiving. So that's going to be the big Thanksgiving movie of that weekend. People are going to go in like the weekend before, and then Thanksgiving's like, you know, let's go watch two giant-ass monsters duke it out to see who the true king is. I mean, it's Godzilla and King Kong. It's a movie that even casual fans should generally go up to see because, obviously, this thing talks about Godzilla King of the Monsters, underperformance a bit. You know, it wasn't a complete disaster or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it broke even, maybe made a little bit of a profit because, you know, with home media sales, digital distributions, and so on and so forth. But it wasn't the big, huge blockbuster success of Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2014. I mean, it's still building upon the universe, so it's getting Godzilla back into the public eye just as a bit of a refresh. Like, hey guys, we had this movie a few years ago. We're also building up to the next film. It's expanding in the overseas market, so it's part of the overall plan. So I was like, okay, we're getting this back into the public eye. More people are going to check things out of curiosity, and so on and so forth. So now next year, Godzilla vs. Kong, which is just under a year away at this point. They might change the release date again. They could potentially even move it up. I don't know any more of this movie. But let's talk about the pros and cons of this. The cons, it's going to be a longer wait. We were expecting any day now. We've been speculating for months. Like, okay, when's that trailer going to drop? When's it going to drop? When's the trailer? When's the trailer? Got delayed. And that upset me and upset a lot of people. But there's also a lot of people like, okay, this is a good thing. It gives them more time to work on the marketing because we're getting super close to the time. And usually around this time, the marketing should start to kick in. But they're like, you know what? Let's just push it back. Let's get more time to work on the film. Maybe if we had to do some reshoot pickups. I'm hoping it's not going to be a Justice League situation where they reshoot the whole damn movie. But, you know, a couple pickups. I mean, Toby Emmerich's kind of involved in this thing. And after what happened with the Justice League movie and all the chaos surrounding that thing, I hope it's not the case with this one. But, yeah, so that could potentially happen, but I don't think they're going to do major reshoots on this thing. You know, productions seem to have gone fairly well with this thing. They had the whole writer room assembly, and plus Weta is doing the visual effects, so that's a good thing. That's very good. All right, no, I don't want to watch this ads. But Weta's doing the visual effects, so they're going to do, like, you know, take their time. They're going to make this look really good, top-notch. So this gives them more time to work on the film. If they need to do some pickups, more time to work on the visual effects, which is a great thing. It's going to look more pristine. It's going to look cleaner. It's going to look better than before if it would have been released in March. So more time to work on it, more time to work on story, pretty much more time to work on the movie, and put it in a better window. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this thing drop in August. I think that would have been a good release date because there's pretty much no competition when you get to August. I think just Bill and Ted 3. But this November, like 2 weeks prior, you got a Marvel movie, The Eternals. But then again, I don't see Eternals being this huge gargantuan, like Guardians of the Galaxy type of success. I see it more along the lines of an Ant-Man or an Ant-Man and the Wasp, which, you know, financially well, but not like a huge mega blockbuster. I think a lot of people are kind of, because of where Ant-Man and all those movies were positioned beforehand, they were building up to, you know, the Infinity Saga and so on and so forth. We're in a post-Endgame world now. There's not really anything that they've really established that they're building up to for the next phase of movies. They kind of just had their Endgame. They're kind of dealing with the aftermath of that. They're kind of going in their own little direction. There's going to be a bunch of different, like, congruent storylines and so on and so forth. But there's nothing really big, major that I feel like people are going to want to rush out to see. They're like, oh, you know, we got movies, but not like rushing out anymore. I think because they're going to just flood the market, oversaturate it with like 4 or 5 movies a year plus the Disney Plus shows. I think people are just going to become kind of exhausted with that. And you're like, oh, I just can't keep up anymore. I'm done. So that's where I see it going. But again, it's Marvel. They've built a very successful brand that people go up to go out and see. So yeah, we'll see what they do with this one. But yeah, so I think this is at first I was upset, but I think this is a good move ultimately. It gives them more time to work on the marketing. Plus, since it's coming out in November, they can kind of do an election-themed marketing tactic. Vote for Godzilla. Vote for Kong. Kind of like you got the presidential election, which is going to just be a madhouse there with people going back and forth of it. So I think you could do like a vote for Kong, vote for Godzilla. I think a marketing campaign that utilizes that November release date could be very effective and very beneficial to the film. At least that's what I think, and I think a lot of people are going forward. Other reasons for this potential delay. Some people think it could spell disaster, but reshoots and delays happen in these movies all the time. Wonder Woman 84 was delayed. Even the Star Wars movies, even Episode 7 was supposed to come out in May. They moved it to December. And that proved to be very beneficial, whether you like the movie or not. It was a very beneficial release because, like, oh, hey, Star Wars movies at Christmas time. This did pretty well. So stuff like this happens with these movies. I think it is beneficial for Godzilla vs. Kong because it gives it a wider release window. It gives it time to play through December up to like the big holiday movies, and less competition. So that's good. Has a chance to do better in the international market, which is very critical if you want your movie to succeed nowadays. So I think this is overall good. And other factors to play in that some people may have not thought of, or some people have, but what if they inked a new deal with Toho to include like some more tidbits, like maybe Easter eggs, more references to other Toho titans? Like you can get a post-credit scene that teases the next phase of the MonsterVerse, because like this is the big build-up here. What if they're going to do a Destroy All Monsters movie, which I think is a strong possibility. I really do think they don't want to end the series with Godzilla vs. Kong. I think they want to expand further. It's like, oh, they're just meeting, and then we're going to end it. I mean, if it ends there, it is a cool place to end, because you're like, your big climax is Godzilla vs. Kong, but I really think they want to do a 5th movie and do like a Destroy All Monsters type event. So we shall see. Again, hopefully this is for the best. Gives more time to work on the movie, more time to polish it up, make it look nicer. If they need to fix some things in post, or go back and film a few extra bits to kind of tweak the story to make the story stronger. Again, it's all a possibility. I would hope they ironed all that stuff out beforehand, but I don't want it to be a Justice League situation where they, like, react and completely change everything from the start. So I think with Legendary involved, they're, as like a co-financier with Warner Brothers in this whole thing, they're not going to do that. I don't see them pulling a Justice League with this thing. So, because then it just creates another mess, because like then you're just going back and changing everything, being reactionary. I don't see that as happening. I still think Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be a huge mega blockbuster. It's going to make more than Kong Skull Island, and it's going to make more than Godzilla 2014. It even has the potential to reach $1 billion, especially with that release date and the fact that it's these two, it's a crossover, it's these two coming together. So I'm optimistic about this whole thing. I really hope for the best. I hope it doesn't suck, because I know some people are saying this spells disaster for it. I'm not excited. I mean, it's Godzilla and King Kong. I mean, the hardcore fans are going to see it regardless. But I think this is one of those situations where even the casuals who didn't necessarily show up for King of the Monsters are going to show up for this one. I'll give it an analogy, too. It's like boxing. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. You had people watch, like, that's just like an example drawing off the top of my head. So you have people who don't necessarily watch boxing who went and watched that particular fight. It's like, even like people, like, I don't really watch boxing all that much, except for Rocky. But when I did, when that fight was announced, like, everybody went to go watch that thing. Like, oh, it's Floyd versus Manny. It's something we've been talking about for years. Let's go ahead and watch it. That was a huge, the fight wasn't very good, but it was a huge, like, box office draw, like, pay-per-view draw. Like, I mean, that thing sold out like crazy. They made a lot of money off that pay-per-view. People who are gonna go watch that versus, like, Floyd Mayweather versus, fighter here, or Manny Pacquiao versus fighter here. Like, because you have these two big names coming into blows with each other, so more so than Floyd on his own or Manny on his own. That's kind of like a little analogy I can kind of give it. So more people are generally going to show up for this thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, King of the Monsters underperformed, this spells disaster versus Godzilla vs. Kong. People seem to forget Godzilla's not alone in this movie. He's with King Kong, so they're going to give each other an added boost. Like, them working together is going to be stronger than them apart. That's just kind of the way it works with crossover films and so on. Look with the Avengers. When that first came out, that was a huge hit. Like, it brought together all these different heroes. Iron Man was the most successful of the other franchises, but, like, Iron Man's only box office, like, domestic, it was like $300 million. Captain America and Thor and all them, they're making like $170, $180 million domestically. And then you come to Avengers and it opens to over $200 million. So first movie to ever do so. again, this is a big crossover. It's something that they've been building up to for 5-6 years at this point, and it's gonna ultimately pay off and be success for them. This is something that's been in the works for a long time. Even the casuals are going to go out to see it. I have high hopes that's going to happen. This movie's going to make a lot of money. I think it'd be, hopefully it cracks that $1 billion mark. I think that'd be really cool. Hopefully the movie is great. I don't just want like a good movie. I want a fantastic, incredible film. And I really hope Legendary delivers with this one, because they've delivered so far with each MonsterVerse film. I've been very happy with each one. I feel like, in my opinion, each one kind of gets better. I mean, there's pros and cons of each film. There's certain areas where one movie's better here. Like, I think King of the Monsters, in terms of spectacle and score, is definitely the strongest out of them. Like, music, too. And some emotional moments, like Kong Skull Island definitely has the best human cast of characters, the most likable cast there. 2014 definitely is the most suspenseful, and it definitely has like some definitely the best build-up of any of the films. So there's pros to each one. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this release date change? Do you think it's a good or a bad thing? Let me know in the comments section down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that bell for notifications. And what do you think? Is this good? Bad move? Godzilla vs. Kong being delayed? I think personally it's a good move, gives them more time to market it, fine-tune the film, so on and so forth. Again, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Hopefully we get a trailer soon for this thing, and I'll see you next time. Peace.